Here we are today with the second part of a video that I started 2 weeks ago in which we were reviewing the Worker Phoenix 1.0. Today we're looking at the Worker Phoenix 2.0, and this thing brings us some really cool stuff. So we're gonna basically look at its features, check it out today, get some chronograph readings, see how accurate it is, give our overall impression if this is the blaster you should purchase over the Phoenix 1.0. So there's gonna be a lot of comparing and contrasting between this blaster and the Worker Phoenix 1.0 and see which one is worth your time and your hard-earned cash. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Before we dive really into the nitty-gritty of this design and this blaster and everything, let me put out a quick disclaimer. This blaster was sent in for review for free by Biu Blasters. I'll put a link in the description. So right off the bat, let's talk about a couple things. First off, safety in mind. This right here, this black muzzle is not the best thing to be running here in America. I cannot speak for the laws and regulations for other countries, but I know here this is not too safe. So if you get one of these, this is the Chinese version, make sure to either throw some paint on here. Almost recommend just not running the muzzle because it is orange here, but yeah, just keep that in mind. I'm okay with this because I will be painting this thing. I want to actually do a mod on this in the future. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see me do that. So the color for me is not a big deal, but I just want to kind of put that out and get that out of the way. So since we're kind of talking about the things I don't like, I might as well continue that. I'm not too fond of this. I don't know what's wrong with my particular blaster, but this will not lock. I can't get this forward grip thing to lock. I see there's a button with a little ledge piece here that will allow you to kind of push the button and pull it off, but mine does not work. I did look at Wacom S7's blaster and he did not have that problem, so I think it might just be something with mine. Whatever. As far as negatives, I actually don't have a lot of negatives with this blaster. Another negative that I have is I thought this thing would select fire. Right now, from what I can tell, and this is my limited understanding of the Chinese language, and just operation of this blaster, it looks like it just has single fire and full auto. It also has motor braking. Essentially on the side of the blaster, you have a switch that enables and disables motor braking. And what motor braking is, well, I can show you. Go ahead and pop this out. So you can hear how the wheels are spinning, right? After I let go of the trigger. That right there, the wheels stop. So why would people want to use motor braking? Well, for one, it does make your blaster a little bit quieter. So maybe you don't like that long spooling sound after you fire a shot. This would be good if you're trying to be more, I don't know, if you're sneaking around a Nerf battle. Me personally, I've never been in too many situations where I need to sneak around and be quiet and make a lot of noise real quick and then quiet. I think once you spool up that flywheel, you've kind of given away your position. So me personally, I'm not a big fan of motor braking because of that. And also the trade-off is, it's not as efficient. You use a little bit more power. If you're running motor braking all day, your LiPo or whatever battery you have in there is gonna perform not as long, so you're just gonna have less time to play. So in that regard, I keep motor braking off. On the other side of the blaster, there is another switch. This is also a 2-position switch. One, I think all the way forward is single shot. I'm gonna go ahead and leave motor braking on so you can really see what this sounds like, but essentially you pull the trigger's still pulled, fired one shot. Now, if I flip it to full auto, as soon as I lift the trigger, it stops firing. So yeah, we got two modes. We got single fire and full auto. I was really hoping for that 3-round burst because that's my bread and butter. I love 3-round bursts. But that's all fine because let me tell you, this blaster is really cool. And let me show you why. The main reason is the fire rate seems to be fixed over the old Phoenix 1.0. If you remember my past gripe with the original Phoenix 1.0, I was a little bit not too excited with the fire rate. I'm not saying this is like screaming fast, but it is noticeably different. This blaster still utilizes the angled talons, which, you know, I still had quite a few from when I was doing stuff with my Worker Phoenix 1.0, so that's nice. Also, it is compatible with, you know, the Gecko, which I love the Gecko as a sidearm. So this now will probably bump up as my main primary blaster that I run with the Gecko. The mods that I'm looking to do with this are, yes, the Kiriaki cage fits in here, and also, if you watched last video in which I reviewed the Phoenix 1.0 from the Added Darts parts, I do have a little information for you. Number one, the motors that I used were not what you want if you want to hit over 200 FPS. I was being told that Neo Rhinos or different motor configurations are going to be better at achieving those higher FPS rates. So keep that in mind. When I do this build, I will be investing in some better motors, you know, because I really want this thing to be over 200 FPS. And also it's worth noting that is with the Pulsar wheels, which are really amazing. I love the Pulsar wheels. Since we're talking about performance, let's go ahead and post up the FPS here. As you can see, this blaster is a little bit more spicy than the original Worker 1.0 or the Worker Phoenix 1.0. I want to say we see a consistent maybe 5 to 10 FPS increase from its version 1.0 counterpart. So in that regard, definitely win over here. Let's talk about the stock real quick. So this is a collapsible stock. I believe you can actually remove. This is kind of its own new, not quite an N-strike attachment. I'm going to show you real quick as to what I'm talking about here. It's got this kind of rounded stock. So I'm not sure if Worker's looking to do this with their future designs. I do see there are like positional locks so this thing can't rotate. If you know of any other Worker blaster that utilizes this type of stock point, please let me know. Or is this possibly a new thing that they will be trying? Worker is notorious for trying things and not really continuing with it, so maybe this is kind of a trial, but I would love to see a standard stock type, although many of you are probably asking right now, what's wrong with the N-strike attachment point? And I agree. I think they should just have had an N-strike attachment point on there, but whatever. This is a very nice positional stock, so you hold the sides and you can basically move this position up and down to kind of fit your perfect stock link. So that is really nice, and it's very sturdy, very sturdy. And let's also talk about the plastic quality of this blaster. Very, very good plastic quality. That's one thing I really want to reinforce. This blaster feels like a very pro product. I know I also said in my last video that I would prefer the Phoenix 1.0 over like a Dart Zone Pro Mark III, and that still holds true, but I think I'd rather this. So next up, let's talk about the overall electronics in this blaster. And before I do that, I need to make a quick mention here. This particular blaster, if you buy it through like Monkey Mods or some other places, I've noticed they come in kits that you have to assemble. This one right here came all assembled from Biu Blasters, so that's really nice. And typically this kit up here, like the full auto kit or the we'll call it Select Fire kit, will basically be a kit you have to install. Mine was already pre-installed, so I'm not sure if this is just specific to the Chinese version or what, but that's what came to me. So I didn't have a lot of like English instructions as to what goes on here, but from kind of tinkering around in the menus and kind of looking at stuff, I've kind of come to the conclusion that because they've removed this front toggle up here, there used to be a little, you know, potentiometer or like a PWM up here. That's been removed, which tells me that now it's being handled logically with this board. So I can see you can kind of like adjust it through toggling through the menus. You can go, you know, basically increase your fire rate or lower it down, possibly increase or decrease your flywheel speeds if you want to go up in FPS or down. If that's the case, I'm not sure if this thing is actually hitting as hot as it could, or if it's, you know, if it's turned all the way up or turned down or put mid-range. I'm not sure. I will be doing more research. You know, obviously I need to get my hands on the English version so I can kind of navigate myself through the menu. So the question is, you know, how are they detecting, you know, whether or not, is there any kind of IR sensor in here? Can it detect exactly that, you know, it's fired 3 darts? Because to me, it seems like it's just kind of a dummy system where, you know, you got single fire, which just fires that 1 dart, and then full auto, which it just lets everything rip, which is not too hard to do. It's just doing one that does single, you know, burst, and then full auto. Those are usually, that's a better system in my opinion. So I see all this, all the screens and all the brains in this, and I feel like they really should be able to do, you know, 3-round bursts or something. Let me know if you're familiar with this blaster. Maybe I'm missing something, but from what I can tell, I just see this thing shooting single fire and then full auto. So the question is, you know, how responsive is like single fire? So let me show you real quick. So basically, single fire, There's a slight delay. It's very, very slight, but it is noticeable from when you pull that trigger to how long until the dart actually leaves. So it's hard because like, and a lot of it too is like I've actually shot stuff that's a little bit more responsive, and it just like, so you can kind of feel that slight delay. It's still very effective, mind you, but I just need to make mention of it. And then of course, full auto, you know, you can quickly just pop off a few shots here and there. But yeah, I still feel that little tiny delay. But overall, it's not too bad. So let's go ahead and kind of run through this real quick as far as what we got here. Obviously got the muzzle brake I talked about. We have some onboard sights that are not utilized once you have this upgrade kit here. They do give you some Picatinny here. Obviously collapsible stock, which is really nice. This pistol grip is very comfortable. It's actually got a rubber kind of overlay on it, which feels really nice. Trigger is not the most comfortable trigger ever. Wish it had a little ergo right there, but it doesn't. This little nudge up here, I think looks a little funky, but it's kind of got that strange Worker Phoenix design language. They just add weird things. I don't see any sling points, which is actually pretty weird. Oh, okay, never mind. We got these on the bottom. They've given us some like good, sturdy, really high quality plastic. So you got some sling points down there. You got two, so you can either do left or right. I think this is a prime candidate for like a good, solid, dependable primary. And I look forward to running this one in my future wars with, you know, various events I go to. So in conclusion, can I recommend the Worker Phoenix 2.0? I would say definitely. If this is a blaster that really speaks to you and you like the way it looks, I think this is a solid pickup. I would actually recommend some people that, you know, when they come up to me and say, hey, I'm kind of new to all this, what kind of strife should I get? What kind of upgrade should I do on like a Dart Zone Spectrum or whatever? I think if your price range is around a couple $100 for a good, dependable, solid blaster, I would probably push you in this direction. Obviously, if you want to customize something and make it your own, I'd probably recommend you grab something like a Spectrum or a strife or, you know, some other thing that you could then, you know, call it paint and mod and, you know, make it your own thing. But if you want like an all-in-one, ready-to-go package, I think this Worker Phoenix 2.0 is a great option. Well, I'm DrFlux, and I want to thank Biu Blasters for sending in this product for review. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, be safe and happy foam flinging. Oh, you're still here? Okay, well, if you got this far and you're not subscribed, make sure to do so. It helps the channel tremendously. And while you're here, check out this video. You might like it.